I mean, you've always just been like this, like well-rounded athlete, just kind of good at everything.
No, dude. I was just.
It seems like
I think I'm a professional tryhard. Like, you look at my stats or just like my fatigue, like how I'm shaped. Like, you would never think I was like a good athlete, but I'm okay at everything, which I think makes me a good athlete.
Exactly. I mean, like, depends on what you're trying to do, right? Like, if you're trying to be the best marathoner, you're probably not going to be able to bench 225.
Yeah.
Like we were talking about this morning, or squat 315 or something. But like, do you want to do that? Like, do you want to be the best marathoner, or do you want to be like the best pole vaulter, maybe? Or just for like human health longevity purposes, like just be
the best all around,
good at everything.
Yeah.
Like the guy that can go do a HYROX or a marathon or a 100-miler or a decathlon, whatever. Like that seems more intriguing to me than just being like one-sided.
I agree, but it's also going to seem biased because that's what I do.
Right. Fair enough.
Yeah.
And maybe, I mean, at least for myself, that's my justification for like why I'm not the best at anything.
I used to be obsessed with like being the best in one. Like in high school, I was pure soccer, only soccer, every day, morning, night, soccer. And then when I graduated and like went to college, because track was just kind of a back end. I picked it up like the last 2 years of high school. And then I got like D3, you don't get athletic scholarship, but you get athletic scholarship. It's called like the university grant. It's the same thing.
Interesting.
But so then they like picked me up for both, and then I was burnt out on soccer, which is why I switched to focus just on track.
Yeah.
But it just goes to like, I think it's really good to be multifaceted because it helps keep your interest.
Yeah.
And then again, just like, I like to think of it as like functionality for longevity. Soccer is very niche, but I mean, it is great for longevity. It's cutting angles, accelerations, blah, blah, blah. But like the decathlon and, you know, now the HYROX and running world, like it's very faceted to everything. I can go through HYROX and talk about how every motion is from getting up and down off the ground, how it's like pushing something, pulling something, grabbing something. Like the wall balls is like getting up and down off the toilet, and then a little bit of an extra movement. If you could do a wall ball forever, you'll be able to get up and down off the toilet forever.
That's so true.
Yeah.
Yeah. That like functional aspect of fitness. It's like, it's cool to go run a fast race and stuff, but again, I think so much of it comes down to like when you're 80 years old, do you want to be the one in a wheelchair because you can't walk or stand up on your own, or do you want to be the 80-year-old that's like out in his lawn working, like picking up heavy shit, like doing stuff,
or going to do a half marathon.
Exactly.
Like,
yeah.
I just worked the Mo Cowbell marathon this last weekend in St. Louis, and like there was like these 60 to 80-year-old guys that are out there doing like the 10K half marathon. I'm like, they're my biggest inspiration because I just want to be able to do that when I get older.
100%.
Because if I can do that, then I could do it with my kids, my grandkids. If I'm lucky, maybe my great grandkids, and like if I could still run with them, like that's the dream.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I love that, dude. This is a good segue into HYROX. Like, that's like, I definitely want to dive into like all the individual things you've done because you've done so much. But like, big part I want to talk about is HYROX because it's such a new sport. I feel like it's blown up. That's in so many cities now.
Yeah.
I think it's in like, I don't know the exact number, probably like 10 US cities. It's in a lot.
Yeah.
And you went to the World Championships this year.
Yep.
in France. You've got a 61-minute PR, which is nuts for the Open.
Yeah.
You've done one pro race.
Two pro
races.
Yeah.
Like I did a workout with you a couple weeks ago, and you were just like cooking me. Like I couldn't keep up with you. So I'm just excited to dive into like the HYROX side of things. I feel like a lot of people that are listening to this probably don't even know what HYROX is, and I feel like in this bubble of Austin, Texas, everybody knows what HYROX is, but once you go outside of it, nobody knows. Like, I was in Wyoming, and I was telling people I was training for HYROX, and they're like, HYROX? What's that? Like, what do you mean? And like nobody knows what it is outside of Austin, I feel like. So I'm excited to dive into all that stuff too.
Yeah, no, HYROX is super good. And I mean, I recently just learned about it in 2022. I was at like the Go Rut games in Florida. And there was a HYROX activation. I'm like, what's this? And then we like talked to the guy, and he was just like, oh yeah, it's this like awesome functional fitness test. Like you run 1Ks. I was like, I like running. And he's like, and then you get some like strength activation movements in between too. I was like, okay, I'm interested. Because I used to be a CrossFit marathoner. And then I found HYROX, which was like, oh, this is way more functional. Like, I don't need to be like, I love gymnastics work, but I don't need to be doing Olympic lifts for the marathon necessarily. I think Olympic lifts are fantastic, but with HYROX, I'm like, oh, much more functional, and it directly kind of correlates to marathon training and like ultras. So did that activation with him, and then me and my buddy Josh signed up for Dallas last year. We both did the pro race. He won his division. I got like 10th in my division.
That was your first HYROX?
Yeah, first HYROX.
So you did pro the first one?
Yeah, just jumped in. I mean, it kind of like just my mindset. I full commit to something.
Yeah.
My first distance race was 100K. Never did a half, never did a full, anything like that. But I was like 200 pounds and like could barely
That's crazy.
Like run a 10-minute average 5K.
Was that Rocky Raccoon?
Yeah, then I did Rocky Raccoon in 22.
I think that's the same year I was out there. I probably talked to you then. I didn't run. I was filming when I worked at BPN.
Oh, you were at, because every time I passed the BPN booth, I was like, hey, yo, where's Nick? Like, how's Nick doing?
Yeah, I guarantee you I saw you.
And then I like ran with Jordan
Yeah.
because he was running the 100K. Like I ran with him like the last lap.
That's crazy.
Past them at the end. But
Hell yeah.
But it was like really cool. That was the first time I got to like meet some of the crew.
That's sick.
And like Nick Bear's Leadville YouTube video was like kind of like what got me inspired to like want to do an ultra as well. So I was
That's
like,
dope.
let's do the Rocky Raccoon.
Dude, go. Yeah, dog. That's sick.
Yeah.
Okay, HYROX. I think even there's like this thing with runners that they don't like lifting. I think people are coming around to it. I would imagine most people listen to this though are probably lifting though. Like it's obviously a vast majority runners, but I think from my observations, people that are good at HYROX are people that they come into it already a strong runner, like they're already good at running.
Yeah.
And then they throw in the strength component kind of afterwards. Maybe they already have like some baseline for strength. Would you agree with that? Like, do you think the people that are better at HYROX are more from the running world, or what would you say?
Yes and no. I want to just like first highlight you because I think you do a really good job like recently, like talking about HYROX, and like you've always done a really good job about like incorporating strength movements. Like I know squat, step up lunges, and like deadlift are like your favorite lifts, which are just so great for functionality and for HYROX. But to like answer the question specifically, unfortunately, I think if you're coming into HYROX and like you want to be good, it would be good or more beneficial to have a running background because the race is dominantly 60% running.
Right.
And then the strength aspect though, like if you're already like well strength and you think you have a little bit of an engine, well, it could be more beneficial for you because you have the strength side. So you don't need to focus too much on like the strength motions for the events. You need to just worry about building your engine. And like the most important thing for HYROX is compromised running. And what that is like running on tired legs. So it would be like doing any type of like sled push, sled pull, lunges, whatever, and then going and hitting a run after that. Or how I like to train is like, I'll break them up into like Metcons or like little AMRAP sections. So I'll say like, I'll do a 10-minute AMRAP section where I'll do a 400, 800 meter run. This is where you could just adjust based off of your current fitness levels. And then you would do like a 20 meter sled push and then like a 20 meter lunges. And then you do that 10-minute AMRAP. And then you would do the same thing. Then you could do like a 2-minute rest. We're going to get into this tomorrow.
Yeah. I'm excited.
Yeah. And then it'll be fun. It'll be fun. And then I always incorporate something with the cardio station. So like for the first one, that's compromised running. We're doing like the heavy sled push, lunges, run. Then I would do like ski erg is going to be your base cardio one. And then you could do like wall balls or burpee broad jumps, pairing it with that. And you just like pair them with the stations in the HYROX that you need to work on the most, or that you feel like, oh, if I could train this one a little bit more fatigued, then it'd be better come like race day when you put it into play.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
It makes perfect sense.
So like both sides. If you want to come right off the gate and be a good HYROXer, have a good running base. If you want to be able to be strong in the events and you know that you're going to be a bad runner, then you just have to work on the running aspect more than you would the strength. If you're already a good runner, then you just have to worry on compromised running. Like, yes, strong legs or fast legs. And in HYROX, it's so beneficial to have much stronger legs. Highly recommend just listening to you and doing like squat, deadlift, step ups, Bulgarian split squats. Like HYROX is a very leg dominant sport.
Right.
The most upper body you have is like half of the ski pull, burpee broad jumps, grip strength for the kettlebell farmer carries, but a lot of it's grunt work. So if you could just like keep moving forward, biggest thing is keep moving forward, like step after step, don't stop. Like even in the HYROX zones, like at least be walking. And before Dallas, like we're going to race together in Dallas. I'm going to see if we get in the same heat because that would be dope. That'd be dope.
Yeah, dude, I'm learning a lot from this training. It's been fun. Like I love just being a beginner and trying to come in
Yeah.
not knowing anything and just figure it out. I mean, a lot of it translates from like what I've already been doing, but like I have skied probably like ski erg, I don't know, 5 times in my life. Row, not very often. Sled push, sled pull, like hardly ever. So like all the movements are newer, but all the things like you said, like deadlift, squats, all that stuff translates. The strength component translates. And none of the movements are super complex or like overly technical.
No.
It's just like you said, grunt work, like just gritting your way through it.
Yeah.
Once you kind of understand the like basic techniques for the movements.